Hello and welcome everybody to season 3 of the global Campfire of Coaching. We have been away for a while, but that's because we've been thinking up new formats and cooking up, a couple of really interesting things. And today is the first of them where we have a panel discussion, an all Erickson panel discussion. And we're going to try things out here for a little bit and see how we like it, see how you like it, so that we can maybe make this a recurring series. Today we have with us Richard Hyams, who is the faculty lead of Erickson Coaching International. We have Nicole, and I'm not quite sure to pronounce your last name. That's why I'm hesitating. So I'm going to go to you in a second to educate me on that. Yeah, I'll give you my take and then you can tell me how wrong I am. Nicole is an enrollment advisor, so she takes care of everybody who is interested in what Erickson has to offer, but would like to go into the weeds and into the nitty gritty of what that means. And so is Kalina Miletic, who is the newest addition to the enrollment advisor team and who also has received, I understand, a wonderful accolade recently. So I'll just throw it to everybody to kind of introduce themselves a little bit and just let us know who they are and why we have them on our wonderful panel today. So Kalina, why don't I start off with you since I ended with you in the introduction round?
Well, thanks so much for having me, Fabian, and everyone else. It's an honor to share the panel with some real experts, and thanks for the acknowledgement too. Yeah, it was the Business Insider list of most innovative career coaches. So while I absolutely do enrollment with Erickson, I'm also hard at work with Chiefly, where we do leadership coaching, and Kickstart Your Work as well is a second company that I lead where we do remote work and career transition coaching. So that's a little bit about me on the professional side, and I am an Erickson professional certified coach. So I really started my journey with Erickson, and so again, it's a real honor to be on a panel today with some of the people that really introduced me to what coaching is and what it can be for a career. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, very glad to have you. And Nicole, so my take, just because maybe it's the Dutch, but would be Keuken, but I don't know if that's anywhere close to how you would pronounce it.
That's probably more accurate than I can actually say myself. So I say Keuken, but I think your pronunciation is actually correct. But yeah, change the K to a Q, and that's how you deliver it. So Nicole Keuken. And yes, I am an Erickson grad as well. I actually had the incredible honor of being trained by Richard almost 16 years ago, which dates both of us dramatically. I did the 1-year coach diploma program way back then, and I've been involved one way or the other with Erickson pretty much ever since. I've worked as a TA, I've worked as a mindful facilitator, and I'm passionately involved with enrollment. I really love speaking to people that are called towards coaching and want to live their purpose through coaching and are interested in becoming coaches. I really believe in teaching people to fish rather than feeding them a meal. And in this way, working through enrollment, lots of craftspeople, lots of fishermen, and lots of people learning how to be incredible coaches.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being here. We've been talking about this for years, and now we're finally making it happen. So I'm really excited about that.
Very much so.
And Richard, who are you?
I ask myself that every day. And I get a different answer every day. So yeah, I'm Richard Hyams. I started with Erickson as a student in '97. So I've been with Erickson over 20 years and started out as a coach. So I too am an Erickson grad, many of the Erickson programs. And then I became a facilitator, and I'm still a facilitator for Erickson. I trained the Art and Science of Coaching, our coaching flagship coach training program. I also trained the NLP, which is really more in alignment with my passions. So the neurolinguistic programming certification program, master trainer for that. And I'm fascinated by how people think. I love the fact that human beings are unpredictable, are hidden mysteries, even to ourselves. And, there's still lots that we're discovering about who we are as humans, individually and socially. So I keep myself passionately interested in those kinds of ideas. In working with people, I think I get the most joy out of an individual having an awakening to their thought process. So what I mean by that is that I'm quite interested in fascinated when a person and myself comes up against a limiting belief, for instance, and they are able to address it and release it and reveal to themselves a deeper truth. So I'm all about that. I love diving into the patterns and thinking processes that limit us, and then the ones that empower us.
Yeah, got it. And that's actually such a nice segue to the topic that we want to discuss today. Because as we are we just got the really good news that there might be a vaccine available soon, but we don't know quite yet what that means exactly. The distribution across the world isn't going to be fair. Frankly, it's not going to be even. So not everybody's going to benefit from that right away. And so what I think everybody has been dealing with, as opposed to March, April, is going from this immediate crisis mode into this more sustained, okay, what now? We have to keep living at some point. We have to, or we want to thrive again. And how do we do that under these new circumstances? So I'm really looking forward, Richard, on your insights around, and everybody else's, obviously, on the insights around how can we thrive even in the face of what might be perceived to be adversity. Certainly is for a lot of people that are grieving and that are having a very hard time. But how might we thrive anyway, and how can we go about taking care of ourselves and taking care of the people in our lives? And I would just really love to get into that with all of you in terms of how you do that for yourself and how you do that for your clients. So who would like to start first with the question of how are you keeping hopeful right now? How are you keeping in good spirits, and how are you looking to the future with a positive attitude, with a solution focused, dare I say, attitude?
Well, I'll start. Yeah. So I like the last thing that you said, dare I say, be solution focused. And then you said something else that I think is relevant, because you used the word perceive or perception. And, one thing that's easy to forget is that we do have a choice as human beings. And I don't mean to dismiss anybody's experience, but we do have a choice as human beings of how we perceive an experience. And there's lots of metaphors out there about that. And some of them are annoying, like if life hands you lemons, make lemonade out of it. But really that's the core of what the solution focus attitude is. And, when life hits us with any kind of experience, we have a choice. I'm going to repeat myself, of how we frame it, of how we perceive it. And one of the things that can really get in the way is our beliefs about what's appropriate to feel about something, right? And so we all know what it's like to. I think we all know what it's like. I'm assuming that we all know what it's like to be really passionately upset about something or angry about something, and we can't get a single other person to be as equally upset or passionate about it. And the reason I bring that up is because that tells that right there, that example tells us that we don't all perceive the same experiences in the same way. There's something happening internally, and in NLP we call that our unique personal model of the world, and it's a filtering system. Right? So whatever we see, hear, smell, taste, touch comes in as pure data into our physiological, system, through our neurological system. But as human beings, I don't know if animals do this, but as human beings, we we provide meaning to what's happening. So when you ask, how do I personally deal with adversity, I do my best to be aware of how am I perceiving it? What is the meaning that I'm giving to it? And does it really have to mean that? It's one of my favorite questions of all. Why does X have to mean Y, right? Why does having less opportunity to be social have to mean that I have no choice but to feel bad? Is that really true? And, you know, and these can be annoying questions because we identify so much with our emotional nature. However, my position is that asking these questions is the road to a solution-focused perspective or attitude, or way of being in the world. You know, if we can't get sick enough ourselves to help other people get well, right? We can't get an unhappy person is always going to assist someone else towards greater happiness. We ourselves have to our best to be an example of what it is we want to inspire in others. So what the world needs right now, and I think the world always needs it, but what the world really needs right now is persons who are and examples of thriving and happiness and ease and satisfaction, despite and regardless of what the conditions are right now. But again, I have to be saying it up front, there's a little bit of a weird kind of knee-jerk response to that concept, right? How can I possibly show my best, you know, be in an authentic space of happiness while this is happening around me? But you can. We have those choices. So if we're going to coach people, I mean, we can't be stressed out coaches, you know, in our least resourceful and assist somebody towards thinking about a possible bright future. It's up to us to operate from a place of our own state management, right? So that's my roundabout answer to your question. I mean, I'm examining variations of that self-questioning, you know. Yes, this is happening, but is it really a reason to feel bad? Is this really the worst year? That's something that I'm going to argue with some people. Is this really the worst year, right? My mother had cancer 20 years ago. Those 3 months of her dying of cancer, that was a very, very difficult year. Does this have to be so bad, right? We had a faculty meeting and some of you were present at it, I think. I think you were, Fabian, I don't, you know, where we did appreciative inquiry. What actually emerged out of these last 9 months is actually a positive, right? What benefits, what opportunities? We always have a choice as to where we can put our attention. Obviously, I can talk on and on and on. So I'll say one last thing and let someone else talk. So, you know, research has shown that a human being only has so much energy and so much that they can put their attention on in a moment. Right? And so, but we do have a choice as to what we decide to put our attention on, right? We can walk into a field of beautiful flowers and trees, and we can just put our attention on the dead animal in the corner or some rotting tree and ignore all the beauty that's around us. We always have a choice as to what we put our attention on. And I think that that's living in a solution-focused way. It's like we always have a flashlight in our hands and it's up to us where we're going to shine it. And yeah, so that's what coaching does. Coaching asks questions to assist someone to shift their attention away from what's not working and what's unpleasant and what's problematic towards what is going to work, what is a solution, and what is more, what's the word I'm looking for? What is a road or path to well-being? Along the way, it just takes letting go of this old belief that we have to put our attention on what's not working in order to fix it. But the more we put our attention on what is broken, the more we get broken things. Right? And that's actually now being proven. Yeah. Okay, I'll stop.
So Richard, if I understand you correctly, it's not about putting on the rose-tinted glasses and thinking, oh, well, you know, it's not so bad. Everything is just great. And isn't it wonderful? It's really about honestly assessing what is actually working, what are the opportunities, and where do I have resources that are actually there. It's not about convincing myself that everything's great when you know, when
No,
everything
it's
sucks.
not.
But
It's not
yeah,
about, yeah, it's not about denial. It's not about putting a happy face sticker on an empty gas tank. The guys, that's not what it is. But you know, it's about acknowledging where we are, and that is a platform or a bouncing point for what we do want, right? So another self-talk that I really like, and I use variations of it with clients and even friends. So you know what you don't want. This is great and important information of what you can figure out what you do want. When you know what you don't want, you can more easily and with more clarity determine what you do want, right? So if you don't want to be alone, stressing out in your apartment, what is it that is the opposite of that? I want to be satisfied, I want to be relaxed, and I want to be socializing. Well, and how might I be able to create that? And you know, so there's Zoom happy hours happening all over the world as an answer to that very problem that became a solution. That's yeah. So thank you for clarifying into that. No, it's not about rose-colored glasses. It's not about pretending that things are all right when they're not. It's about making a choice to use what's happening as a platform for what I do want to create, that I do have control over creating for myself.
yeah, got it. Thank you. And I'd love to throw it to Nicole next, because we won't have you for the entirety of our time together. So again, the question was, how are you taking care of yourself during these times? How are you staying solution focused? And yeah, basically that's it for now.
Well, thank you, Fabian, and definitely appreciate everything that Richard shared. And I think key to how I'm keeping my own self-care, and I'm also a mom of 3 children, so married with 3 kids. So not only do I need to stand in that place of self-care for myself, I also, as Richard mentioned, have to stand and represent what resourcefulness is within my family system as well. And I think Richard really answered that question so in such an important manner. And what I really find myself gravitating to is, what do I have control over? It's very easy in a crisis or in a negative state to lose yourself in the things that you have no power to influence. We can't change the fact that there is a virus that's contagious out there. However, we can fully choose how we are going to respond. And what, as Richard said, where are we putting our attention? So personal self-care for me has been really, I'm not interested in socializing so much. I'm more of an introverted homebody myself. So that's been a different challenge, because instead of having my space to myself, now I have my 3 kids home and I have my husband home. So it's almost a reverse of what many extroverts have experienced. I'm like, everybody's in my space. So for me, finding that balance has been really about creating space for myself. So definitely taking more walks, practicing my mindfulness, creating pockets within my day and pockets of space within our home to create that space that allows me to stay grounded and be resourceful. So that's on the personal front. And what I really notice with my kids is that as a parent standing in that energy, and I have to really again thank Richard for this, is having that choice of, am I defeated by this? Am I losing to this? Am I lost in this? Or, as Richard very wonderfully shared with me, holding that energy of, hey, we've got this. What can we do? What choices do we have? You know, how might we connect at an even deeper level? What are the blessings that we're having through these experiences? So in our own family, we're noticing that we're playing games more often. We're connecting at there's more proximity, and that's adding to more connection, more interactions in our days, because we are spending that much more time together. And when the kids at first were like, oh, I don't know, but wearing masks all the time, we asked them, you know, what is it that you can do while wearing a mask? Can you, it's very cute. I have an 8-year-old and she says, well, Mom, I can use my eyebrows to smile. And I'm like, great, show me that. So she goes, so she's got her mask on and that's her smile. And we talk a lot about how, you know, the ability to choose to wear a mask is a choice, and it is something that we can do to protect people that we care about. It's an energy that we stand in where we own our own choices in this situation. And Richard made another interesting point about the difference between ruminating, and ruminating is getting carried away in a train of thought. It's like a runaway train that we're not being intentional of where we're thinking. We're not tracking our thoughts. We're caught in loops of, you know, emotions and ways of being, and it just kind of goes, you know, well, then there's this and then there's that, and we tend to dig ourselves down holes because we've let that train of thought go, instead of self-reflecting, which is the role of a coach, both as a human who coaches and to support others, is to ask those questions, right? And those questions lead to self-reflection. And there's so much choice and power when you can be intentional about what you're choosing, when you can put, as Richard said, your attention on what are the magical moments here, what are the blessings, what can I enjoy, what is possible, what can I do? And self-reflection is a form of self-care. So I think that's been probably the greatest gift for myself and for my family, is to get really intentional about our state of attention.
Intentional, being aware of what is influencing you, how you're responding to it. So really having that as a layer between the impulse, or between the input and kind of the impulse, the knee-jerk reaction, but having this kind of circuit breaker, saying, okay, so how do I want to react to this, and what am I paying attention to?
Absolutely.
Got it. Okay. And Kalina, we definitely want to hear from you as well.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, such all-encompassing answers on the coaching front and on the mindset part. And I think for me, my question, both Richard and Nicole had sort of their core question that kept coming up. For me, it's been, how can I? So that's kind of, I'll start with, okay, how can I, to Richard's point, socialize? So I'm constantly, that's sort of the question I hold in mind. And for personal strategies, I'll take it in another direction, only because I think both of them really covered the mindset brilliantly. For me, on the physical side, I've found I'm in a lot of meetings back to back with zero time in between. It's like completely, I can even be engrossed in the meeting, but when it's day after day of Zoom to Teams to Google Meet to Zoom to, you know, I don't even know what room I'm in sometimes anymore. Something that I'm really working on is actually being very present to where I am physically now. So I mean, it depends on your situation, but for me, just got a puppy, so he's really helpful, and I'm actually doing my best to be more like Max, my puppy, who naps a lot, who likes to go on walks, to Nicole's point, who needs a hug and a cuddle and a physical touch. So for me, while I think everything that was said before me was so powerful for a mental model way, sometimes I find I can't turn off that rumination, or for me, it's a struggle to. I mean, I'm great at arguing with myself. I have very compelling points. So so I can go in those circles. I can go in those circles and I can create all sorts of scenarios for a long time. And if you get a sparring partner in that, it can be, it can go on even longer. So I'm really working on hugs with my immediate circle, or holding hands with my partner, or hugging my dog, or to Nicole's point, a walk, or things that yoga is helping me immensely, breathing, things that really put me back in my body as somebody that is really kind of in their head a lot. I'm finding that amidst all of the technology, making sure I'm taking breaks from that and being actually where I am physically has been a real lifesaver to my own energy levels, and being able to show up online even more excited and vibrant and thriving, to use Richard's word. Like I can show up to a Zoom meeting feeling really thrilled about the topic because I just went outside, or I just did some yoga, or I just hugged my dog. So some simple things, but on the physical side, I'm finding are having a real impact in my ability to come back to an 8-hour, 12-hour, 14-hour technology filled day and kind of be able to move through that. So it's a little bit about what I'm doing outside of the mindset tools that I think Richard and Nicole covered beautifully.
Yeah, so a healthy spirit and a healthy body. Got it. And so as you all were talking, besides taking it in, that what you're saying, I'm learning that I have to probably moderate a little more in the panel discussion. So because I know we all love talking, and it's amazing, it's wonderful to hear your trains of thought. I do want to take advantage of this format though, and since we only have 5 minutes left, I want to experiment something that I just devised, and we'll see if it works or if it doesn't. Let's play a little bit of almost a little bit like a word association game. So now when we're talking about how are we helping the people around us, how are we helping our clients, give me maybe like 2 to 3 words, half a sentence, maximum 1 sentence, and then we throw it to the next person, and that person kind of builds off of that idea, and we kind of bounce it off each other. Does that make sense? Okay, so Nicole, we'll start with you this time. Or maybe I'll get it started to make it fair, so that I don't just expect of you something that I'm not willing to do. So how am I taking care of the people around me? Let's see. I intentionally exaggerate my good mood sometimes. Nicole, you're next.
I really intentionally build oxytocin. So lots of hugs, lots of physicality with my children, with my husband, with the people that I'm safe to have that with.
Richard.
Humor, not taking things seriously, and metaphorically tickling others into the same state.
Oh, that's so Richard. That's so pro for you. You're such a hug on a that's so good.
Thank you.
Active listening for me. So asking others how they're doing or what's up, and letting them just kind of talk without expectation or even a reply, just kind of opening a space.
Inviting other people and putting their attention on kindness as a driving factor for both towards themselves and towards others.
What's going really well for you right now in this moment? Richard, passing the ball.
Comfort food. I've been talking a lot about and inviting people to talk about comfort food. Yeah, I've been discussing grilled cheese sandwich moments.
And poutine.
Poutine is another one, yes. I don't know.
What's that? I don't know. What is it?
Poutine is a Quebec.
Oh, poutine. No,
Poutine,
I thought you said bootine. I was like, is there a new twist?
Well, that helps as well.
Let's invent it.
But please explain what poutine is, because I had no idea before I visited Vancouver, and it's just everybody has to know what that is.
Well, it's unfortunately it's hard to explain it. It's hard to explain how amazingly delicious it is, but it's basically the traditional poutine, comes out of Quebec, and it's French fries, thick cut French fries is the standard, cheese curds, like squeaky cheese, and a hot meat-based gravy that's poured over it. And as you're eating these French fries, they're gooey because of the cheese curds, and it's amazing. It's comfort food.
And saucy, yes. And the fries are usually quite crisp on the outside, so you get a little bit of crunch.
Yes,
Very
they don't. Yeah, you don't want soggy. Yeah, that's poutine.
I love it. So for me to continue that, I think shared experiences, even though it's a new environment where that's not always what we thought that was. I think Richard mentioned Zoom parties or sharing a coffee, a distance outside, whatever the case is, but shared experiences in the new way of doing.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, I want to thank you, everybody. So with that kind of, I can actually taste it. I'm going back to that September day when I know exactly who I was eating it with. When I got to know it, and it's amazing. So, you know, that my mind kind of, I went back. My mind can't tell the difference between what I'm imagining and what's right in front of me sometimes, right, in a positive way. So I want to thank all of you for this first edition of this panel discussion. I want to do a lot more of these. I hope you're interested, just on many different topics, to break down some of the elements of what coaching is, what solution-focused coaching is, and just because I think in the interaction, as we are building off of each other, some things might come out that wouldn't come out if I was just monologuing out people, and it's a lot more fun to listen to. So thank you very, very much. Tell me in one word what the highlight of your weekend is going to be, and with that we're going to jump off the call.
My word is nourish.
My word is reveling. Reveling. Yes.
Nourish, reveling, and
difficult. Stuck between napping and writing. It's gonna be
okay. Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen. Maybe
I'll coach you so that you can do both at the same time.
Perfect, Rich.
You have a nap, you wake up, and you've written a book. How about that?
Oh my God, that's what I need. You could sell that. Ease. I'm gonna pick ease. Whatever ease is gonna be the theme of this weekend.
Yeah, for me it's going to be connection, and picking the spots where I get to connect with a little baby and my loved ones. And so with that, thank you so much, and talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Fabian.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It was great. Thank you, everyone. It was fun.